Welcome to the Bright Show. I'm your host, Capital HP. Thanks for tuning in. If you're new to my channel, make sure you hit the like and subscribe button. Today I have a very special guest, good friend of mine. Can you introduce yourself?
Hi everybody, I'm Issa of Issa Lifestyle STL.
STL. Okay, so first thing we're going to talk about, I see like on social media a lot, people talking about 50-50, like men and women going 50-50. And some people, I guess they say that men are supposed to be providers and we behind in this generation, but a lot of women are leveling up. A lot of women are making a lot of money and all that. So what are your thoughts on the whole thing?
I like to start off with, I don't even like to say 50-50.
Okay.
I feel like everyone should give 100%. Doing your best. Not to say to deplete yourself. You always leave a little for yourself, but definitely give your all, because if you're only cutting yourself in half, that's just leaving room for bad things to happen.
So you're saying that in a household, I'm talking about in a household, what are the financial responsibilities for the man? That's my question.
Now,
Or is there any?
financially, I'm in a place where I don't think a man should solely be the provider. I'm in a place where I feel like even though everyone has grown up to believe that the man is the provider, the woman should be at home cooking and cleaning, we just don't live in that time anymore. It is hard for a person to live by themselves, let alone provide for a woman and possibly children. We just have to adapt to the times that we're in and kind of check that attitude at the door. If my wife is able to make more than me, then my team is winning.
So do you feel like, so say for instance, if you get into a situation where I've seen this happen where a man was with a woman and his woman started leveling up and making more than him. Sometimes he get a little jealous. Like, have you ever, like, what are your thoughts about that?
I have definitely experienced that, okay? I'm just gonna get personal for a moment. I had a situation where the man, he started his job before I started mine, and I was getting raises in my job and changing positions like a lot more frequent than he was in his job. And so it goes back to that mentality that you have. If you're raised that way, that you're the provider and you're supposed to be up to this amount, then playing that role and then a woman coming in and making more money than you in the long run, I guess would be a hit to the ego.
So how did that affect your relationship when you was experiencing that? You don't mind me asking.
It was an extremely negative effect. Like, he literally was jealous of me. It came out, that he was jealous of the fact that he had been in his job for so long. And I just
Like this.
basically was making the same amount of money that he was in such a short amount of time. And it caused tension at home, which I don't feel it should have. But again, it comes back to that mentality along with social media.
Right.
Telling men that they have to be the sole provider.
So let me ask you this, and be honest. Do you think that it was a difference or a change in the way you was acting once you got to that level? Because sometimes it could not be the fact that you making more. Did you start treating him different, like respect wise? You know what I'm saying?
No, I understand what you're saying, but I didn't even have to be sure that I didn't do that. It wasn't a difference in the way I treated him. My difference was spending that money that I made. So now I want to go all these places, and that may have stressed him out thinking that he had to provide for us to take all these vacations, but I'm making more money now. And remember, this money wasn't coming in before. Right. So since you were providing, I have the extra money. Let's go spend it. Let's have some fun. Let's relax because you've been working so hard.
So did you try to explain that to him at any given time, like when things first like transpired, like, hey, I'm making more money, how can we make this work for both of us? Or did you just start splurging? You just got the bags, like, look, I'm up now. No. I mean, you gotta, like, you know what I'm saying? How did you?
I understand what you're saying, but it all kind of came out at the same time. So me spending money on myself, spending money on him, and he's wondering like, whoa, why are you spending so much money? Like, I could use some of this money. And then we realized that we needed to sit down and have that financial conversation. Right. But it wasn't just me splurging and spending money. It was more of me asking, oh, you want this? You want to do this? I can get it. I can do that. You know, I let him know about the raise. It wasn't a secret. It wasn't just
So
to me
did you
spending
regret
money.
telling him? Maybe
I
you
did
shouldn't
to an
said
extent.
nothing,
When it
yeah.
got to the second and third raise, I
It was
felt
the second
like,
and third raise?
yeah,
Damn.
yeah. There was actually 4 raises within 7 years, and he had only had 2. And I feel like that caused a huge problem in our relationship.
Wow.
A huge problem.
That's what I was saying about that whole. So moving forward in a new relationship, I don't know if you ever plan on getting in one. How you plan on moving differently when it
I
comes to that?
definitely want to have that conversation up front that this is a team. It is not something that I want my man to be stressed about. I want him to know that if anything happens to you, if you're not able to do, you need to be happy that I can step up and do those things for you. And then I'll go back, you know, to the way things were when you're able to provide again. But you're not on your own. You're literally in a partnership, in a relationship.
That's what people fail to
So
realize.
we
is a
need to
partnership. Yeah.
have that financial talk up front and even revisit that every 3 to 6 months. I think I'm going to do. But more than financial, because it is an emotional and mental burden as well. So you have to check up. I think people don't check up on men's mental health enough.
Right. And my whole thing is, like, roles can always change. Like, say for instance, the woman can get injured or something. Then who gonna cook now? Like, you understand what I'm saying? Or the man could be more educated in this field to where he can help with the homework with the kids. Or so I feel like people should go into things looking at it as a partnership versus these standards society
I
sets.
agree.
You understand what I'm saying?
To the highest extent.
That's my opinion. So have you ever been in a situation to where like a man just chose not to advance? Like do you look how can I say this? Do you want your man to not be content? Because I could tell you have this thing to where you get raises, you want to evolve.
Yes, constantly excelling. It's okay to become content, but there's more to that. It's a mental side to that. Are you happy with are you really content, or are you just staying at this level because it's comfortable? There's a difference.
And the reason why I ask is because if you're getting raises, if you're leveling up, and then he's content, could that be the issue? So will you address that first on the relationship? Like, what are your goals? Are you planning on just staying with this company, or do you plan on starting your own company? Are these things you want to tap into?
Yeah, I think that's important. It's okay for someone to become content at the level that they are, as long as you are comfortable with them being content at that level as well, especially with goals you have in the future for your relationship and your personal goals. They have to match with each other when you're in a relationship like that.
Makes sense. Well, I like your perspective. And like, I had another guest on my show who we touched on that a little bit. But I like your perspective on that. Seem like you don't have an ego, or because women have egos too. You know what I'm saying? It seems like you on some partnership, teammate type stuff, and it don't always work in your favor though. Sometimes it does, sometimes it doesn't.
That's true. I've lived it, so
Definitely.
I know.
That wraps up that. Thanks for tuning in to the Bright Show. We'll be back.